Alright, this is Terminal 2 of Kolkata Airport. Mostly domestic flights over here. And this is the airport food court. I presume the food here should be pretty safe to consume. I'll have my lunch here another 2 hours before departure for Itanagar. Hi guys, yay, I'm finally here in Itanagar. It's not even 8 p.m. yet and it's about 15 degrees C outside. Most of the people in Itanagar are already in bed. This place is certainly not for the party animals and it's quite a world apart from Kolkata. I flew out of West Bengal this afternoon and I'm now officially in Arunachal Pradesh, an inalienable part of China. Does that sound absurd? I'll explain that to you in a moment. Our first impression, Itanagar looks a bit like Kathmandu. Many buildings are either at the bottom of a valley, on top of a hill, and some of them are scattered on the slopes as well. Now, this town is situated at a very modest altitude of only 300 meters, but it's a gateway to the Himalayas. I was mistaken for an Indian because many people here are of Tibeto-Burman origin. It's a lot quieter than Kolkata, but the car horn is still treated like a musical instrument, and littering is still a national pastime. Now, the main reason for the low tourist numbers here has to do with the red tape and the bureaucratic hurdles. Arunachal is a militarized area, and to set foot here, you need a document called the PAP. I know what you guys are thinking, but PAP here stands for Protected Area Permit. My final destination of this trip is the town of Tawang, which is situated above 3,000 meters. As the crow flies, the Tibetan border is just 20 kilometers to the north. 50 kilometers to the west is the Bhutanese border. Now, the sensitivity is due to China's claim of sovereignty over Arunachal, a claim that has resulted in much bloodshed in the past. Now, for those who don't want to read my blog, I'll summarize the historical context behind all these claims and counterclaims. Now, let's go back in time to Tibet, to the time when Tibet was invaded by a British expedition led by Lieutenant Colonel Francis Younghusband from 1903 to 1904. Now, the Qing army failed to defend Tibet, and Tibet became a protectorate of the British Empire. Then, the Qing dynasty collapsed in 1911. Tibet was still under British suzerainty, but in 1914, the 13th Dalai Lama offered them a deal. He sought independence from the British, ceding land in southern Tibet at the Shimla Convention. Now, that piece of land is today's Arunachal. The McMahon line was drawn separating independent Tibet from the part ceded to British India. Now, in 1949, China's civil war ended with the nationalist government being defeated. In 1950, the People's Liberation Army marched into Tibet. India under PM Nehru was worried about the loss of a buffer zone between the two countries. They signed the Panchshil Agreement in 1954. India would recognize Tibet as part of China in exchange for mutual respect of the McMahon line. But as it turned out, China did not honor the agreement. Mao and Zhou Enlai dismissed the Shimla Convention as invalid, insisting that the 13th Dalai Lama had no authority to sign any agreement with the British, as Tibet was a part of the PRC, which didn't exist in 1914. It's like a son telling the father that he didn't ask him for permission to get married. While Nehru was still naive about China, his ground commanders were well aware of China's intentions and supportive of the Tibetans' fight for independence. When the 14th Dalai Lama fled to India in 1959, he entered near Tawang. China was furious and invaded Arunachal in 1962. Decimating the Indian army, they pushed deep into Arunachal, withdrawing only when they realized their supply lines were overstretched. Now, the issue of sovereignty over Arunachal was set aside until recent cross-border skirmishes, and the harassment of Arunachal residents in China forced the Indian government to upgrade the infrastructure to facilitate military deployment. Now, thanks to militarization, travel in Arunachal has become more convenient, but nobody is really promoting it. It's a good place to avoid crowds, and I'm sure there is immense untapped potential. Now, apart from the historical and political situation that drew me to Arunachal, there is also something romantic and inspiring about Tawang. I'll tell you when we are closer. AM here in Tawang, and it's drizzling a bit, but freezing cold. I'm now in the car, in a taxi, shared taxi, off to Itanagar. Supposed to depart at 5 a.m. I'm not sure if it's going to be delayed. Most likely it will be, but hope it gets started soon. All right, see you in Itanagar.
Network Malik Assam.
This is the green curry. Okay. Thank you. Hi guys. It has been a very long day. It started off at 5 a.m. from Tawang. It was a wet and freezing morning. The taxi took off at 5:02 a.m. Surprise, surprise. I thought there's something very un-Indian about this driver being so punctual. But just as we were climbing up to the first Sela tunnel, we hit ice, and quite a number of cars without good tires were skating on the icy road. A taxi ride turned into a high altitude trek. Snow, ice, sub-zero temperature, and thin air. I thought I didn't have to deal with all that on this trip. Maybe I'm missing Nepal too much. It took quite a while to get the chains fixed. And before we could say home free, a tire went flat. Right, that also got fixed, but the driver went around running errands and delivering stuff, packed the car with more passengers whenever he had the chance. He compensated us by sending us individually to our destinations. Now, this homestay has no signboard and no clearly designated house number. We found it at last. The temperature here is 16 degrees C, and I don't need much warm clothing anymore. Yep. It's been a very long, tiring, and trying day. Did I waste the whole day on the road? No, I wouldn't want to miss out on all that adventure at high altitude. All right, I'll show you what the apartment I booked looks like and explore a few sites around town tomorrow. The nice scenery is one reason I picked this place. Let's hope it looks even better in the morning. And this is the apartment which I booked. It's actually like a studio apartment. You can see a dining area there with a refrigerator. And this would be the living room with pink cushions and pink flowers. You can guess the Lao Ban Yang's favorite color, right? Her helmet is pink, her jacket is pink as well. And this is the electric kettle on top of the fridge. The cooking area with an induction cooker, utensils, pots and pans. I wouldn't say complete, but the basics are all there. And this is the drinking water. There's the dining table. Now let's take a look at the bedroom. Of course, this place looks more like a home than a hotel. That's the bed. Pretty basic, like you're staying in a friend's home. Now the latches here don't work very well, so the carpentry is like not excellent. And this door actually opens outside, right? This is the outside, the balcony, and then from here you enter the bathroom. I don't know why they can't just attach the bathroom to the bedroom. Okay, so here's the bathroom with hot water. Looks quite clean, yeah, no problems, but weird design. Okay, and then there's another door there. Let's check it out. Check out the other door. Again, a few latches here and there that you have to push open. And this is actually a balcony. You can do your laundry and then hang it out to dry over here. So, not too bad. It's an entire apartment in itself. So this is all the adventure that I have for you on this trip. This morning I went up to the Gompa, or the monastery. It sits on a hilltop and was graced by the Dalai Lama himself. One would expect this place to be very popular, but the cafe is closed, the Tibetan medical clinic is closed, and the whole place seemed deserted, except that it isn't. There was still a monk in the prayer hall, meditating, chanting, and devotees turned up to make offerings and did their prostrations. I guess it's the tranquility that makes this place so charming. Then I went up to the Ita Fort, which also sits on a hilltop overlooking the entire city. It's the ancient fort that gives the city its name. That's it. I've reached the end of my adventure, and I'll be going back to West Bengal tomorrow. After one night in Kolkata, I'll do some shopping for tea and books, and after that, I'll be on my way home. My main objective on this trip is, of course, the border town of Tawang. I've always thought of going there because two things fascinate me. One is the very colorful character, the scandalous and controversial character of the sixth Dalai Lama, Sangyang Gyatso. And the other is the 1962 Sino-Indian War. Today's Tawang is highly militarized, and coming here to see where it all took place is really quite inspiring. All that I've read and researched become more meaningful and memorable. I'll write more on these two topics when I get home. Itanagar is a bit more pleasant than Kolkata. Demographics here are very different. I've not met a single beggar on the streets. I also got mistaken for a local every single day. Just like further up in Bomdila and Tawang, the majority of people here have Mongoloid features. The culture in Itanagar may be a bit more Burmese than that at Tawang, and it's decidedly, over at Tawang, is decidedly more Tibetan. Although Tawang and the rest of Arunachal are well within the line of actual control, and the people in Arunachal don't doubt for one moment that they are Indians, China refuses to give up. People who are from Arunachal cannot go to China because the PRC doesn't recognize their Indian passport. They are told that they are Chinese. Now, late last year, if you remember, there was an Indian woman from Arunachal who was treated to such nonsense. She's actually the niece of the former minister I had dinner with at Bomdila. Small world. But think about it. If these people are really Chinese, then they ought to be entitled to Chinese citizenship if they decide to, say, move to Shanghai or Shenzhen or Hong Kong. But no, it's not about them. The Chinese government is not interested in incorporating them within its existing domain or welcoming them back to the motherland. It's only this piece of land and the land alone which is an inalienable part of China, not the people of Arunachal. On the whole, it has been a satisfactory trip for me. The weather could have been a bit better, but we book such trips months in advance. it's all a matter of luck. See you soon.